these intermediate agencies, all these smaller entities that allowed wealth and ownership to move around. So the guilds not only cared about the workmen and tradesmen who were members of that guild, but the larger community. They were the ones who put on the fairs. They were the ones who supported the work of the church. So insofar as a distributive society seems to match what Belloc is. Am I getting this right, Dan?
No, but you're doing a good job of not getting it right. So I'm amused by the answers.
So insofar as a society really does live out this kind of stratification where these intermediate agencies are serving the larger community, I remember Belloc characterizing distributism. That's something that affects the common good in this notion of right order. That you have the whole community working in a way which allows the good to be more abundant.
Yeah, the main principle, and of course I can't make comments now, I can only ask questions.
Maybe if you end it with this interrogative tone at the end of your sentence.
Well, okay. Ownership?
Thank you for a very fine lecture. I have a couple questions about the common good, but let me just ask one of them. As I understand it, you define the common good as those goods which others can participate in without any diminishment.
Correct.
Yes, true. And then there were private goods.
Correct.
All right. And I'm wondering, now in the contemporary world, we're very much more aware, I think, than was the case in the pre-modern world, of the role that institutions play in supporting the common good, or being part of it, although I think in your definition it wouldn't be, but that's my question. What about schools and universities, that their job is to sustain and pass on truth? What about police and the courts, and their job is to help maintain order? Do they have a place in your schema? Because it sounds like the common good wouldn't include that. It only includes the peace and the truth itself. Because, of course, those things do require more judges when you have more cases to come forward.
Pardon me, are you making slighting remarks about the university system when I'm talking about truth?
There you go.
Are you insinuating that our universities and colleges and schools aren't passing on the truth?
No, I'm asking, I think they do. My question is, are they part of the common good for you? It sounds like they're not, because they're material rather than the truth itself. But they're clearly not part of the private good.
Stop. I mean, the university can't. Stop. The university can't. This university is not a common good. It is owned by certain people. It is owned by the Benedictines. They contribute to the common good by what happens in the classroom and what happens in the chapel and what happens in, well, hopefully what happens in dormitories. That's how they contribute to the common good. But the university itself, when you say part of the common good, that's ambiguous. Well, in what way?
We have some countries have a very fine university system, some don't, right? Some have very good courts, some don't. Is not a good system of courts part of the common good? It's not a private good. It could be part of the common good. Or if not, where do you place it?
Well,
not just that judge, but the whole system.
The courts are a part of the government authority, which is in charge of promoting the common good. So insofar as they are related to the overseeing authority of the community, they contribute to the common good. They affect justice, which is a common good. I guess that one can't, how to put it neatly, simply say, is this a private good, is this a common good? I mean, when you're talking about the buildings, the court buildings, those are, no, you're not. Okay, you're talking about the institution as an institution. That's a part of the government, which is the principal agent for the common good. But it isn't the common good. It's the agent which contributes to it or brings it about or orders it. That's why St. Thomas will say the common good is the end of law. But you wouldn't say that law is the common good. Law is the means by which the common good is effected. And then part of law is that law is promulgated and enforced by due authority. So you have to distinguish things that are related to the common good, even though they themselves are not private goods, nor are they the common good itself.
Kind of going off what the professor was saying, are you arguing that the common good is sanctity? Or some...
Sanctity would be the personal reception of the most universal common good, which is God. Did that
Just repeat that.
Sure. His question was, is sanctity, am I saying sanctity is the common good? Sanctity is something that is in somebody. So you wouldn't say that sanctity is the common good, it's the reception of the divine life inside the soul. That's the way St. Peter puts it, right? The definition of grace is divine life inside us. So the reception of that in the soul, that's what sanctity is. Look, go back to truth. Knowledge is not I suppose you could talk about knowledge as a common good, but it's probably more accurate to talk about truth as a common good. And knowledge is the reception of truth in the soul. I mean, ultimately, there's a sort of knowledge floating around there, right? It's in a soul, it's in a mind. So you distinguish between the good and the reception of that good within the person. There is God's superabundance of life and goodness, and then there's the individual reception of that. That's what sanctifying grace is. It is the installation within you of this universal common good in a way only possible by God's power. He looks dissatisfied.
But I was satisfied, so it really doesn't matter.
Could you get me a gin up here?
Just following what you just said, sanctity and truth, jumping back to the last question, would justice be one of those things? Is there a correlation that's in the court system?
Yeah, I would say that justice is that's what I was saying to this gentleman, that justice is a common good. By the way, if you look at the preamble of the Constitution, those are all common goods that are laid out in the preamble. The general welfare, common defense, justice, domestic tranquility. The preamble of the Constitution lays out what are the ultimate goals of our Constitution, and it's for the sake of the common good. So if I have justice, and it's truly justice, so if you break into my house, you steal my television, and now parent possible, the police actually catch this person and get my television back. Let's work with that imaginary scenario. When you're caught and put in jail, and I get my TV back, we've both gotten justice. Your getting justice doesn't interfere with me getting justice. Again, it's truly justice. So justice is, in that sense, able to be shared in by many or by all. That people are treated justly by their government, right? That everyone shares in that. Likewise, as someone mentioned earlier, that there's corruption in the country redounds to the whole country. That's one of the reasons. If you want a leading indicator why a country is poor, look at the perceived levels of corruption in the country. Look at the perceived levels of corruption in the country. Last question.
So it is to be correct then, good governance is a common good. A good government is something that is promoting the common good.
Correct.
Well, that was a really easy answer.
At the risk of personal promotion, the books that I wrote outside is available outside Citizens of the Heavenly City. I wrote it as a high school text. Bishop Burke asked me to write this for our Catholic high schools in the cross. But even adults can understand it. So please feel free to avail yourself of this, and hopefully you'll find it helpful. It's full of references to the Catechism, St. Thomas, St. Augustine, Encylcical. It really is an overview. Okay, commercial work.
Yes, and on that note, we will keep the book table open for about another 20 minutes or so, and then start making your way over to Great Hall at your convenience, to the reception, which will last until 7, and the banquet follows in the next room, the Alumni Lounge, and we will see you there at all those places.